it's time for my prediction on who's going to the championship. Now, right now, the teams that are in the driver's seat are Alabama and Ohio State. Those are the schools that's in the driver's seat. The rankings right now, according to the AP Top 25 poll, I'm just go 1 through 10. Number 1, and it's in this order: Alabama, Ohio State, Boise State, Florida, Texas, TCU, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Iowa, and Virginia Tech. Some notable schools down there as well. Miami of Florida has a big matchup with Ohio State next week. If they can beat Ohio State next week, that will really put them in the hunt for the title for sure. That will put them in the hunt for sure. Pittsburgh was 15. They lost, so obviously they will drop. They lost to Utah, who was unranked. Now, if Utah does well this year, and Pittsburgh happens to be surged, the Utah loss may not look so bad. But right now it does, because they lost to an unranked team. LSU right now is 21. But honestly, for their performance, the way that they almost blew their contest against North Carolina, I don't see any good coming out of LSU this year. Penn State, huge matchup next week against Alabama. Huge. Penn State, if they win this game, they will shoot up the rankings faster than a rocket. They will shoot up the rankings. Because then, if they happen to win the Big Ten, whew, man, Penn State, how about a Joe Paterno, 45 years as head coach of Penn State, and for only the second time in his head coaching career at that school, he is starting a true freshman. How about that? That is incredible. Anytime you watch a Florida game, you're going to hear, what Florida can do in the post-Tim Tebow era. Now, mind you, Tim Tebow was one of the most influential college athletes college football has ever seen. But the major league sucking for Tim Tebow, for the coverage of Tim Tebow, is really downright disturbing. So, please, whenever I'm watching a Florida game, whenever you fans are watching a Florida game, please, commentators, announcers, for the personal enjoyment of your viewing audience, never again mention Tim Tebow on a Florida telecast. Never, please. That includes you, Gary Danielson. So based on this, who will win it? Now, this season, you might have heard this before, but this season is really, you get the intrigue of having the mid-majors mixed in there, but it's kind of again like the 07 season where there's really no dominant team. There's no dominant team. So you might see a situation where you have one-loss teams in the national championship game. Now, the mid-major part of the discussion is knocked out almost completely if Boise State loses tomorrow night. That's why I'm hoping that they win, so that part of the storyline could be in there as well, kind of to screw up the process of the BCS. I'll tell you in a second why that's actually a good thing for the sport. But in a season where there's not really there's no dominant team, you're probably going to see Ohio State bruise their way. They're not going to cruise, but you're going to probably see Ohio State in the national title game by default. I know there's not a lot of fans that, outside of Buckeye fans, that like hearing that around the country, but that's basically what's going to happen. You got Terrell Pryor. They're letting him air it out. His performance at the Rose Bowl proved to Trussell that Pryor has the ability to do this. And in a conference, in Ohio State's in a conference where it's all about rough and tough defense. Well, here's Ohio State who's running all over the place with Pryor, and has speed and athleticism. So because of that matchup theory, Ohio State will probably again win by default. Go to the title game by default. Now, does that make them the best team? Absolutely not. It could if they win the title, but not necessarily. Alabama, you got Alabama and Florida. Out of the top 10, it is a little bit more spread out as far as conference breakdown. The SEC team, you got Alabama, Florida. It's 2 SEC schools. In years past, we have seen as many as 5 schools in the top 10 from the SEC. The reason that's the case, you got 2 mid-majors in the top 10. You have 2 Big Ten schools in the top 10. You also have 3 schools you have 1 school from the ACC, that's Virginia Tech. You have 3 schools from the Big 12. You got Texas, Oklahoma, and then Nebraska. Nebraska, it's been a while since we have seen Nebraska in the top 10. It's been a while. Welcome back to the top 10, Nebraska. But again, like we said, if this was the same rankings next year, if it was the same rankings at this time next year, okay, Boise State and TCU will both be representatives of the Mountain West. Nebraska will be in the Big Ten. That will basically flip-flop the number conference breakdown. You will have 3 schools from the Big Ten. But like I said before, there's going to be a lot of competition within the SEC, within the Big 12, and I know it seems so simple for the mid-majors to just simply, coast their way through the season. But as usual in college football, that's not the case. The national championship game, you're going to see the number 1 ranked Ohio State Buckeyes, who I said before will get in by default because they will outlast the competition and they will breeze their way through the Big Ten for the most part. You're going to see Ohio State, and I believe their opponent will be, just looking here one more time, just make sure, their opponent will be Texas. I think we're going to get an Ohio State, Texas national championship game. I want that prediction, I want to be wrong. I want to see a mid-major in a national championship game. I really do. I want to. Okay? But I think Boise State, sometime down the line, I think Boise State wins tomorrow night. But I think sometime down the line, they're going to lose. It's not going to be pretty either. They're going to lose to a team that they should beat. And TCU is going to lose sometime as well. They're going to probably lose to Utah. You cannot really put our hands on exactly how the college football season is going to turn out. Because 9 times out of 10, the rating rankings looked preseason. It's not the case towards the end of the season. It's not. So, our national championship game, from me, the Ohio State Buckeyes is the 1 seed, the 2 seed, the Texas Longhorns.